You know what? Ruby was the most unexpected gift. I was doing a convention in Australia years ago. Probably, what was that, 3 years ago maybe? Yeah, maybe 2 years ago. And there was a couple there. Guy and a girl, man and wife couple. I didn't know them. They were in the hotel where we were staying. And one day, I was down at the lounge. It was one evening, and a lot of the American guests were down at the lounge. And this girl and guy come up to me and they say, "Hey, we're big fans of your work. Just wanted to say hello." And I went, "Well, hi, nice to meet you. What's your name?" She said, "My name's Lindsay."
Yes.
Hi, Lindsay. And her husband,
Michael.
And so, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know who Rooster Teeth was. I didn't know Ruby, nothing. And she says to me, "We actually work on a show. Would you like to see some images from our show?" And I was like, "Sure." So she reaches in her backpack and goes, and pulls out this iPad. And she starts showing me pictures, scrolling through pictures of Ruby. Like the character Ruby. And I was like, dang, this is really good stuff. I mean, when a fan tells you, look at my artwork, you really don't know what to expect, right?
True.
It could be any very different level of quality, right? Could be stick figures. It could. Or it could be like really good. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is really beautiful stuff, Lindsay. And then she said, "Do you want to see her fight?" And I was like, yes. So she swipes to a video. And she shows me this video of Ruby fighting, and it was amazing. I was like, dang, girl, who are you? What is this? Is awesome. And they told me, yeah, we're this company called Rooster Teeth, and we're working on this show. And I said, well, God bless you. Best of success. What a great project. Bye. So we came back from Australia, and a couple of weeks after we were back, I got an email. "Hi, Vic. This is Michael. I met you in Australia. My wife and I were showing you the show that we work on. Is there any chance at all that you would play a role in this show?" And I said, "Sure." I did not say, "How much does it pay?" I did not say, "How is it going to be distributed?" I did not say, "Well, is it popular?" I didn't even know. I just like acting. So they offered me a chance to be a part of it. I said, "Sure." And they said, "We want you to play Ruby's Uncle Crow." And I'm like, "Okay. What does he look like?" So they sent me a couple of images, and I sent them back 2 or 3 different vocal styles on the character. And they chose the one that you hear now when you watch Ruby. So that's how it came about. You know what else is really cool? Another thing that's really cool is that because it's original animation, all of those girls come together at Rooster Teeth and they record the shows together before the shows are animated. It's what we call prelay. Prelay means right? Before you lay down the vocals, the voice recordings, before you do the animation. All Western animation is pretty much prelay. The Simpsons, Family Guy, Rick and Morty, all of that stuff. The actors go into the studio and they perform the roles however they want, and then the director gives the finished performances to animators who animate to the actor's performance. That's what we call a dream come true.
Don't have to
Because
lip sync.
anime is much harder because the animation's already done. And you have to match locked, unchanging, uneditable animation. You have to match your performance to it and make the performance sound believable and good. So Ruby is prelay, but I don't live in Austin. I live in Los Angeles, sadly. So they send me the scripts, and I sit down. I have a studio in my home, and I sit down and record all of Crow's lines. and then send them to plug into the episodes. So I don't get the benefit of sitting with the other actors and doing the lines like a little radio play, you know, when you're there with the other actors and you're doing the scene together. It would be really fun, but unfortunately, I do all my lines alone. So Uncle Crow is all alone.
He's flying solo.
And sometimes I don't know exactly, like you can't always know what they want the line to be. I mean, how they want the line performed, right? For instance, I've used this example before, so if you've seen it online, I apologize, but it's a good example. Let's say they sent me the script and Crow has a line of dialogue where he says, "What are you doing here?" Well, it's important for me as the actor to know who the heck I'm talking to and why I'm asking them what they're doing here. Are they a friend? Well, if they're a friend, it would be a happy thing, right? What are you doing here? Oh my gosh, right? If it's an enemy, what are you doing here? You see what I'm saying? It's the same line, but the intention is different. If I were talking to somebody that was right here, it might be, what are you doing here? Well, that wouldn't work if they were just walking in the door, would it? Because you'd have to sound like you're talking to somebody that's 50 feet away. What are you doing here? Do you see? Same line, 4 words. What are you doing here? 5 words. What you doing here? But so the fact that I'm not in the studio with them, knowing exactly what it's supposed to be, I will send them like 3 versions of every line, so that they can pick which one fits the best with the scene that they're putting together with the other actresses. But I am so proud and honored to be a part of Ruby. I love that show, and back at the end of season 4, I was like, oh, you better not kill him. Oh, don't make
You and
me
us
come down
both.
there to Austin. I will open up a can of whoop ass.
Same.
You know what I mean? I was like, don't you kill him.
Don't you kill the
Thank
crow.
goodness they didn't. Yes, my dear.
Were you always interested in anime or voice acting? How did you
You know what? I was, but I didn't know it was anime.